Maybe I give a short introduction of CY Lu. Mr. CY Lu is a very special breed from the government. Himself actually is from Taiwan, but he studied in Germany. So this guy can speak fluent English, 普通话, German, and a little bit of Japanese, right? As well. So many languages. So I met him through a very useful platform called LinkedIn. At that time, because I have been doing a YouTube channel interviewing different companies. Now, today I uploaded the latest one on LinkedIn and YouTube as the 91st. So around 100 videos now. So thank you to CY as well, because actually CY brought me so many interesting startups for me to interview in the last 2 years. So we have been working together on that. Very good friend of mine, introducing many different interesting startup platforms. Recently, he told me that there will be a very big project going to be at the Ocean Park, 海洋公园. So why startup will be having an event in Ocean Park? So he will tell you a bit today. So the whole point of bringing CY in and as our first guest, because he has been working in this position for how many years, man?
6 years.
How many have you? 6 years. Wow. How many startups have you talked over the last 6 years? Tell us.
Too many, but it's never enough.
I would say over 2,000, 3,000, right? Something
be.
like that. That figure is crazy. It's really crazy. Yeah. So over the few years, startups has been lots of startups has been very popular in Hong Kong, and also important part is many of them are from overseas coming into Hong Kong. Something like Uber, very interesting startups they brought to Hong Kong, and of course they are a very interesting story that came in then. But still, big company. So secondly is Hong Kong is very special. It's in between the China and overseas, has become a very big bridge that we actually help lots of overseas companies going to China, and also bringing China's companies going to overseas. So we become a very important position to convert or transfer the knowledge or skills, and also bridging the very important talents coming into Hong Kong right now. So I will not say too much now. CY can tell us a little bit more, and I know you just got back from Thailand, right? Through your presentation.
And Beijing.
Beijing as well.
Thailand
wow,
and Beijing,
okay.
yes.
Oh, excellent. So please start. Give us some introduction and give us some lecture now, please.
I'm not the one to give the right lecture. I'm just a government official, and probably known as the bureaucrat that usually put things behind. Yeah, but what I'm going to do today is to share something about myself, and also tell you about my organization, this logo right above my head, yeah, and also my team, right? They're all related, and I think this course is about entrepreneurship, but I'm not here to share the skills of how to do a successful startup business. I'm just here to share some the landscape of Hong Kong. You probably know about Hong Kong's business environment, but what does it mean to startups, and what does it mean for foreigners in Hong Kong trying to start a company? We all know it's a very small market, 7.5 million people, and if it's maybe just 5 million during weekends, because most of them are in Shenzhen right now. But what is the meaning of setting up a company here in Hong Kong, especially you're a small company that's lacking cash, and then this is such an expensive city that you can burn out your cash very fast. What does it mean to you? So I'm going to share with you about this today. But first of all, about myself, yes, as Michael said, I'm from Taiwan originally. I was born in Taiwan, and I came to Hong Kong in 1993. And that was a very long time ago. So I sort of witnessed the transformation of Hong Kong throughout these years. I did my primary school in Taiwan, secondary schools in Hong Kong, and high school in Singapore. So I can also maybe tell you a little bit about Singapore during my time there. And then I went to university in Germany, undergrad, and came back to study another degree in another master program in HK UST. So yeah, I have to confess, I'm not from Lingnan. Yeah, even though my last name is Lu, yeah, it's same as Lingnan Yu. Yeah, but it's not that related. And that's what I want to contribute. Yeah, it's because I think it's a very cool campus. Right? And I did my MBA in Japan. Yeah, so then well. A screen with the website. Okay, tell you a little bit about Invest Hong Kong. Right, so it's a Hong Kong government department, and what we do is that we promote Hong Kong overseas, and then we bring in companies from all over the world to help them set up and expand in Hong Kong. There are many companies coming to Hong Kong every year, and then we have industries to cover all of them. But the diversity of company coming to Hong Kong every year is increasing. So we start to have startup companies, and that is why my team, StartmeupHK, was set up. And this StartmeupHK was set up in 2013. At that time, it started as a startup competition to Hong Kong, and we received overwhelming responses from all over the world. And I think more than 700 applicants want to take part in the competition and then further on land in Hong Kong. And so it could no longer be just a competition. So that's why we set up a team, and then our job, day-to-day job, is to promote Hong Kong, and then we handle startups or startup-related companies when they come to Hong Kong. So our main goal is to support the ecosystem, and then is to introduce the ecosystem to overseas. And then when you are here to set up, we're here to tell you what are the resources here in Hong Kong that you can leverage. And we also do one-on-one advisory. We give you free connections. We invite you to our networking event, and also we try to promote your work when you open your business in Hong Kong. So now let me tell you a little bit about the ecosystem. It is small. It is young, actually, even though Hong Kong is quite a well-developed city. But our startup ecosystem is an emerging one, according to the Startup Genome Report this year. Emerging in the sense that the number of the startups is reaching 4,000. So we do a survey every year in Invest Hong Kong, and the number of startups we take from co-working spaces, incubation programs, and acceleration programs has accumulated to 4,000, nearly 4,000. We are only taking numbers from this section of the startups ecosystem is because in Hong Kong, if you can offer, you can afford your own startup space, like renting an office in the city or have your own factories, you are quite well. You're doing pretty well. So we don't take into account of that, and it's sometimes hard to trace. And we also don't take into account of startups that they just starting, like a one-man band in their own living room or in their own bedroom. Yeah, so because that one is also very hard to trace. And we only take into the section in the middle when they are leveraging the startup resources, like the programs, like the co-working spaces. Because this is the part that they're growing. They're growing very fast, and then they are benefiting from the ecosystem. So it's a conservative approach. That's why the actual number might be a bit more, and but we're only taking to the middle section, 4,000, right? So emergent startup ecosystem. And this startup system is also actively employing people. The number of employees, according to our the data, is nearly 50,000. So they are not just one person, a company. They are hiring, and some are hiring more, and this is creating sustainable hiring in Hong Kong. And these jobs are usually require high skills, also more higher caliber talents. This is a number of our collaborators, the spaces, the incubation programs, and this has also been increasing. Since this service is used to, the main income is to support startups. This number has been increasing. That means the ecosystem is also quite vibrant. And another very interesting thing about Hong Kong startup ecosystem is the internationality. It's different from other parts of the world. You might think Silicon Valley is international, but the internationality in US is not as much. Most of them, they are still US companies. You have foreign companies joining, right? But majority, 90%, they're still US-based companies. And if you go to other Asian countries, like say Japan, it's even it's a more drastic change. I've been to some events in say Japan, and then the startups, foreign startups, not 5%, five absolute number of foreigners over there. So internationality is very important for startup ecosystem, because you need this kind of brainstorming, you need this kind of culture collision to formulate and test your solution, test your ideas. And if you only have a very uniform and genuine culture kind of startup ecosystem, you tend to have problem when you expand overseas. You are not prepared. Right? But Hong Kong, even though small, but we have this uniqueness that can get you prepared. So 25% of our startup founders, they have foreign background, and out of which 21 out of this 25%, 1/5 of them they are originally from mainland China. And this has been increasing for the past 2-3 years, because previously startup founders from mainland China, they tend to think, hey, maybe I can just open an office in Shenzhen and they cover the Hong Kong region, right? So near, right? 40 minutes, an hour of traveling commute is nothing for the salespeople in mainland China. But however, COVID definitely defines that this is not so easy to do so. Another thing is also the difference, because Hong Kong and China is one country, two systems, right? So when you're exposed to a new system, the style of doing business is different. And when they come to Hong Kong, they also found out that the tax system is different. So they can benefit from the lower tax here in Hong Kong, they can benefit from the government funding schemes in Hong Kong, and they can benefit from hiring international talents that allows them to have this increased internationality of the company, and that also helps when they expand overseas. So we see more and more of the startup founders from China, they're setting up in Hong Kong as well, even though they might already have an office in Shenzhen. US is number 2, right? US has always been a very entrepreneurial society. They are very adventurous, and then because it's a big country, right? So they have their embassies and all over the world, and the chamber in Hong Kong is also very well connected. So that allows a lot of the entrepreneurs to have ease of doing business in Hong Kong. And many of the business is because US is the largest consumption country in the world, while China is the largest manufacturing country in the world. So there's definitely business and transaction going on. Number 3 is UK. This is, Brexit is one element, but a lot of the UK entrepreneurs or entrepreneurs who probably studied in UK, when they expand to Asia, they find it very much like home in Hong Kong because of the British legacy in Hong Kong. We even drive on the same side of the road. And then official language, English, is very easy, allow them to do business here at their own convenience and ease. And also the the chamber is also very well connected due to the legacy built in Hong Kong. France is it was a surprise to us, because we didn't know there were French people at first didn't give us that entrepreneurial feeling besides food trading, wine and cheese as previous years. But in the past, I would say 5 to 6 years, a lot more French engineers, or rather engineers from continental Europe, are also setting up in Hong Kong because the tax system is very different. The corporate tax in Europe can easily go up to 40-50%, whereas in Hong Kong, you all know probably in your class it's 16.5%. And for the first 2 million of Hong Kong dollars, the profit is 8.25%. So they see this very big change. And also another one is the labor law system. In Europe, it's very it takes a long time if you want to make restructuring, and there will be strong unions, and sometimes this protects the labor, but also hampers the growth of startup, because you need to very fast adjust to the market change. In Hong Kong, we are more and more lenient, and then 1 month notice. It's mainly because the employment in Hong Kong is there's always a job waiting. So especially for IT-related, tech-related talents, right? So it allows a flexible employment policy to be applied by the startups. Number 5 is a sensitive one, Singapore. Yeah, but it's true. Actually, we have a lot of Singaporean companies in Hong Kong and coming, and vice versa. It's not a competition between Hong Kong and Singapore. Hong Kong and Singapore are very similar, and people tend to think that similar cities will compete. But actually, similarity between two places also reduces the cost when one company expands to another city to explore a new market. Hong Kong's market around is meaning China, Japan, Korea, right, and some part of ASEAN. And Singapore is right in the heart of ASEAN countries. So startups, if their business, the main business begins, is say in mainland China, then Hong Kong is an easier place for them to start. When they expand to ASEAN, they might open a company in Singapore. That's for easier, right? And vice versa. And even for now Singaporean governments or Hong Kong governments, we both have fundings to support our companies to expand to the other city. Because when you government fundings, you need to make estimation and projections. And then with these two cities, it's well developed. A lot of information are more transparent and clear. It's easier for you to make planning and then apply for funding to be subsidized. Right. So that is why we see we're also predicting an increasing number of Singaporean companies setting up in Hong Kong. Right. So I will skip the rest.
Excuse me, can I interrupt? Actually, I'll put in a little bit additional knowledge on that. While you are building a startup model, most of the companies actually do not only target one city. The business model should be expandable and sustainable in different environments. So Singapore and Hong Kong are so similar. This is why lots of them are willing to copy or duplicate to similar business model into Singapore or country like US and UK. Those have very similar legal system practice. So this is why the economy is always like that. They always travel to different countries to start up branches. Like the one I'm working with now, the urban chain, we actually already got UK, US, and the Japan office opened. And now we have Hong Kong as the headquarters. This is how we work.
Yeah, thank you, Michael. Yeah, exactly. Hong Kong and Singapore, it's like kind of like brothers. They have very similar history, and the best way to, I know some have to have make comparison studies to see which one to go to start. Actually, my advice is you need to consider both, and your investor will want to see that you have done your plan, because if you don't, you are limiting yourself, right, to just one part of the world. Yes. All right, so I will skip other small countries because they are not yet into a very strong startup in our startup ecosystem yet. Yeah. But I think what is interesting is to see what is the components of the startup ecosystem here. Number one is fintech in Hong Kong, which is very easy to understand because Hong Kong is a financial hub. We have 160 licensed banks in Hong Kong, and then 78 of the 100 top banks in the world are in Hong Kong. And they are, besides banks, they are also insurance companies, they are also hedge funds, they are also other kinds of financial institutions in Hong Kong. And they all need digital transformation. It's a trend. And fintech is that's why fintech, especially B2B fintech startup companies, they tend to find business easily in Hong Kong. And also, as I mentioned earlier, the English is the official language. So and that is also a language of finance. So it's very easy for fintech company to settle down here and then find business. But for B2C, that is a different story because our C is very small. So for B2C, you have to combine with the Greater Bay Area. That is the key to succeed. Then number two is almost catching up, right? It's e-commerce, supply chain management, and logistic tech. Yeah. Why is this so? Because I think if you are, most of you are probably not from Hong Kong, but I think a few years back in Hong Kong, e-commerce was not a thing because buying things is so easy. Just need to go down to the shopping center on the corner, and then e-commerce you have to wait 1, 2, or 3 days. That's too long, right? But COVID, changed it, and also the advancement in payment and in the fintech ecosystem also changed it. So now you see people are more used to e-commerce technologies. We find the convenience, and then Hong Kong's size is also very convenient, because even though it's very densely populated, people live very closely together. We have a lot of tall buildings, and then some of these tall buildings they are not how would I say, it makes it difficult for you to buy something very heavy, the grocery stuff downstairs, and then you have to bring it back and then bring back to your own place. So the e-commerce in the beginning was to these grocery necessities. Then COVID sort of put another test, another string on how we acquire things we want, and then it started to evolve into even luxurious product, electronics, and then some other services that can be used at home. So
on this, I wanted to say something about it too. Sorry about that. Because the students are going to think of some new business model as part of the course. E-commerce is something we should consider, because actually in Hong Kong, the lifestyle changed. People are more enjoyed to do other personal stuff instead of going to supermarket to spend an hour to buy groceries. So this is all encouraged to do e-commerce, and it is why the HKTV Mall in Hong Kong, one of the largest online shopping supermarket, it has been growth very quickly. So that is something you guys should understand in Hong Kong. It's a part of the culture now.
Yes, because say Amazon or other kinds of e-commerce, they were there because there was distance inconvenience. It's people have to drive for say half an hour to just go to Walmart and then buy things back. So in US or in China, right, e-commerce started due to distance inconvenience. But in Hong Kong, there was no distance problem, yet people are live densely together. While our lifestyle changed, you can imagine that you can easily deliver goods to a lot of people within a short time, right? And that is a very it's a very good model actually, because you as the transportation part, you can actually save a lot, right? But you can deliver measure a lot of the revenue within one building. Okay, so as for the business model, I will let you guys to consider later. Right, so I will carry on. So fintech, e-commerce, supply chain, and then that drives the ICT sector on the third, which is the websites, app writers, and also a lot of the IT technicians. And ad tech is also a big thing in Hong Kong. And it's Asian society, so there are a lot of tiger moms that want their kids to continue to study during COVID. So that drove the K-12 e-learning, was the main driver. But after COVID, now we are into the post-COVID era. We actually see, universities, like what we're doing right now, we're also leveraging technology to conduct lifelong learning or remote learning. And you'll see corporates, they're using more ed tech to train their employees instead of just using classroom training. More gamification, AI is also being implemented into ed tech related areas. And the fifth is professional services. It's also very unique in Hong Kong because Hong Kong has a lot of licensed professionals like lawyers, accountants, or HR experts. And previously, big firms dominate, right? And you need to use the big firms network and also their promoting power to acquire clients. But now with the advancement in technologies, you can easily use social media to reach out to potential clients. And you can also easily leverage the co-working spaces to create a very conducive office area for yourself when you actually meet up with clients. So the professionals, they no longer need to depend on big corps. Right? They are more into smaller companies on their own to provide more customized services. And that is why you see that this number is also very high. So for those these categories on the right, the left-hand side, they are from the numbers you can see that they are areas that tend to do pretty okay in Hong Kong due to our business environment. Whereas if you turn to the right-hand side, these with the numbers are still like double digits or very, very low. These are the areas currently Hong Kong does not have enough startups in, and that is also because either the longer return of the longer time that takes to return, or the scale of the project like smart city, or the space. They need spaces or land to create a solution like robotics, right? So these are the areas in Hong Kong currently not so enough, but that's precisely why you see a lot of the government fundings are located in these areas. So when you decide on your project if you want to pick a category, and this is what I want you to know on the left-hand side, the current business environment, Hong Kong is sufficient, and then you tend to do pretty well based on your strategy and also your execution. But here in this part, when the Hong Kong's current environment is not so conducive, there are fundings to support, and there are also programs to support it, which I'll come to later. So another part of this website that I want you to take note of is this page called Startup Resources. Resources are essential to startups because you need resources. You start with very limited ones, and no matter how powerful you are, ask for help, and then go around and ask people for advice. I think that is a very suitable way to start. Some programs available in Hong Kong. I think I will just categorize into government and non-government ones. So there's Hong Kong Science Park, and there's Cyberport. These are government supported programs. You are tech startups, and they have different responsibilities. But if it's software related ones, Cyberport will tend to be more suitable, and Science Park is tend to be more hardware, bio related programs. Right? And there are also other small ones. These are programs formed by private entities. Could be a corporate, could be a very experienced startup founder, could be angel investors. And sometimes they don't just provide like a curriculum. They might also have an investment, or it could be a loosely gathered community for you to once in a while take part or network, right? So feel free to click into this and then take a look on what you want to be part of. And investors
just to add a little bit more on that.
Sure.
There's two bodies that CY just introduced, the Cyberport and also the HKSTP. I have experience going into the HKSTP program with two projects. One is a software. They have a program called InQApp, and another one we have is IncoTech, which is the one I'm working with, Erwin Cheng, and we graduated from that. So any of you are interested in applying to HKSTP can always come to me. I have the whole process done. So yep, that's it.
And that experience is very precious to help how to get in.
Yep.
Okay, so investors is another important resources for startups, but sometimes startups tend to view investors very, I would say, give too much power to them. Yeah, investors, they are different investors, so you need to learn how to find the right one at the right stage of your development. For the beginning, we often joke that startups you find the 3 Fs, right? Family, friends, and fools, right? Family, friends because they believe in you. Fools because they also sort of believe in you, your crazy idea, and they probably share the same idea with you. And this is easy to start. But I'm not saying that you should only start with this. There are angel investors in Hong Kong, right? They are probably experienced investors, or they are experienced startup founders who exited from their previous startup. So they saw your ideas, and then they probably saw similar things that was forming, and then if they believe that your project will work, then they tend to easily invest in you. Angel investors' investment tend to be smaller, and then very often it's a decision that made by the investor itself, so it could be very arbitrary.
Yeah, the size of the investment is around 1 million Hong Kong or less. So below 1 million Hong Kong dollars.
Yeah, or it could be as low as 50,000. So US dollar, right?
I got one offer me 5,000 before.
That's real.
USD still. I mean.
Yeah. So they are called angels, right? They are called angels for a reason. Not only because they give you money, but also because you can't expect to meet them. You can only very often it's by chance, right? Through introductions or by serendipity, some events. So that's why they're angels. And what you need to be aware of is to not to have an angel turn into a devil in after they invest. because some angel investors tend to be very hands-on, or they tend to be very strong opinionated. They feel that because of their previous success, then they feel that what they say is always right. A startup founder, you should follow, you should change, right? And so even for small amount of investment they put in, they may create a large, a lot of trouble for you to clear, or even affect other investors. So do be careful on that. And then there's also VC, the venture capitalists. The VCs are the size of the investment tend to be from $1 million US to $5 million US. Some will go into maybe 10. So they tend to be investing in pre-Series A to Series A, because that is the moment they see the company is growing, have the MVP, and then maybe also some traction, maybe even some revenue. So they can calculate, they can estimate the kind of return and get from you with this investment. When it comes to VC, they will very often do the thorough background study on you. They call it due diligence, and then after that they make you an offer with a term sheet. I don't know whether term sheets will be covered in this course, but it's a document that currently need to be very careful on some terms, because that will affect your execution later on.
Yeah, I don't know about it, but this normally go into three things. One is like a loan you have to pay back with the interest. Secondly, is they call convertible bonds. So if you don't pay back, they take your company shares. The third one is equity investment. So they actually buy out your shares immediately. So three types normally.
Yeah. So VCs are they're not evil, but they are there to make money. And then they have the pressure to cash out, because their money is also not theirs. It's from LP, from the limited partner. So there's another group of people with money, but they are willing to wait longer time for a certain amount of return, and then they give the money to VC. And VC, because they have to also pay back to the LP with the guaranteed return, so they will be putting extra pressure on the startups, and expecting a more higher return, maybe 10x or 100x, that kind of return. Right?
Normally say 3 times in 10 years. So invest
that's a minimum.
You better get at least 3,000 back in 10 years. That's the minimum, very minimum.
Yeah, and VCs tend to, it's a very risky business. That's why it's called venture, because they will invest in 10, 20 companies for one fund, and then expect 1 to 2 of them to be successful, and okay for others to fail, because the successful ones will be enough to cover, right? So you see them, they are very. It's not a lot of it's a systematic calculation, but sometimes also act on impulse, right? So a group of investors like this. CVCs is another rising trend nowadays. Corporate venture funds, corporate venture capitals. So they are the investments that's started by corporates in Hong Kong, or they could be overseas corporates. Right? They start in Hong Kong, right? And so these funds, they tend to invest at the later stage, and they may work with VC to invest. And sometimes they have an investment philosophy or restrictions that can only invest into technologies that can complement with their corporate business. And if another CVC invests in you, and then if it's an enemy or it's a rival corporate invests in you, then they will choose not to invest. So if you deal with CVCs, sometimes you also need to study their background and their relationship with other corporates.
Yeah, those CVC mostly have their agenda to invest in some particular industry or particular technology. They actually wanted to develop themselves, but they would rather invest to the startups if those people can do better than them. So it always happened with the big prop, like one called MTR Lab in Hong Kong. They are very focused in mobility, so they actually invest to different startups over the world for anything related to their business.
Yeah. Okay. So these are the resources for VC. Government funding, right? This is the one that I think a lot of you are interested to know. In Hong Kong, we actually have a lot of government fundings available for SMEs, non-listed companies. So there are 47 to 50 of them. But for startups, there are, I think you just need to focus on a number of it. And that would be, I think, Science Fund in Singapore. That's a kind of very structured incubation program with a government grant given to it. So if you are you have an idea and you are in the incubation stage, joining a program like this and with government funding, which is a grant, it's not a loan. So it's more, it gives you more. You feel more calm when you are growing and when you are developing your solution. Right? But there are also other kinds of funding. Usually we categorize them into these categories. Right? So support your R&D. If you are R&D focused companies, there are many kinds of funding. For example, the ESS here, Enterprise Support Scheme, is a matching fund to match your R&D project up to 10 million Hong Kong dollars. But for most of startups, this is too much to begin with, and because of the amount, it is usually the hardest to get. But if you are a university student, maybe there are also programs like this. You can leverage your university network to get government funding. Yeah, that is another way. And then for tech talents, right? For startup, you need to find talents. There's a research talent hub for your innovation technology fund related projects. That's ITF. And in the gist, this one just click. Okay. Some numbers you need to remember is that if you want to hire research talent, and government can give you subsidies to make your offer to these talents more competitive in the market. For example, the subsidies for a doctorate degree is $35,000 per month throughout your project period. And say if you just add on another 20,000, this might make your offer a very competitive one in the market, and you can hire good talent. And so this is one example. And there are also tech tests. Tech tests is for visa, so I probably won't go into it. Yeah, and government also co-invest with VCs. Government and VC, we jointly invest. So we have commissioned 16 VCs in Hong Kong to invest together with them. So for example, if you approach a VC and then your project is what they like, and if they want to increase their leverage, they might apply for the VC to apply this project with the government, and then for every $2 they invest, the government will chip in $1 passively. Yeah, government won't interfere with your project or your IP. It's mainly just as a leverage to increase the investment amount. And so this is the co-investment scheme, and more details and also what kind of projects that can get is also listed on the website. And remember yes.
While you are talking about the government funding, I think they had yesterday we received a question from the students about if they are not from Hong Kong, they don't have a citizenship of Hong Kong, are they allowed to apply this kind of subsidies?
Okay, yeah. All these subsidies are applied to companies in Hong Kong. So as long as you have a Hong Kong registered company, you qualify to apply. And in Hong Kong, you can open a company as a foreigner with a foreign passport. It could be 100% owned by a foreigner.
Yes.
So the answer is yes.
You don't need anyone from Hong Kong to help you to open a company. It's totally legal. You can pay tax in here, and if you invest well, you can even apply for residency from here too. If you open.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So by the way, there's a website starting out in Hong Kong. If you there are some information about setting up the company and the process. So it explains. It's very transparent. It's very fast. And you don't need to find a local Hong Kong citizen in order to start a business or to apply for funding. Fundings are given to the official entity, that is the corporation itself, right? Yes. So there are other funding schemes. Market Development Fund. This is one is for you to roll out your business overseas, for you to attend exhibitions, and you can also get your cost reimbursed. And we also have area focused ones like GBA focused schemes. and also other industry-focused schemes, right? So there are a lot. There are a lot of in Hong Kong. It's not all decided by one department. Yeah, it's decided by various departments based on their industry expertise. So first of all, you have to understand what you want to do, and then you have a project. Then use that project to apply for the funding. So this is the theory behind. Right. So yeah, and under this page, there are also other startup resources like networks or some associations, startup association you can join, co-working spaces information. We listed in different districts in Hong Kong that based on your budget and based on your client distribution, you can use a co-work space easily to start. Yeah, but I think Lingnan University also has very good facilities to help students to do this.
Yes. I would say yes.
Actually, it's a blessing. It's a blessing to be a student nowadays.
Yeah. One more thing I want to say: CY organizes a lot of parties for startups to meet up. So get hold with him and me. I always got invited by him too. So it's good if you wanted to stay in Hong Kong and work for startups. Go to this event. Meet some startups. They might be interested to hire you later on.
Yeah. So for general events, small events, you can go to our event calendar here. Yeah, there are events with different themes for you to join. But of course, we also have like big ones at Bell and Road because there are also startups in along the Bell and Road. But these are topic focused, industry focused. They could be in Chinese, could be in English, right? Just pick it and then sign up. Most of them are free, right? But what I want to tell you about is the much more bigger party, and the ocean part that Michael mentioned in the beginning is the StartmeupHK Festival, which is coming up from the 8th to 17th of November, almost 2 weeks. So in these 2 weeks, what we're going to do is we work with 8 different event organizers to create 8 different events throughout these 2 weeks. And then these events, they could be general ones, they could have industrial themes. But the main key is that if you want to feel the ecosystem, you should take part and you should really see for yourself. Don't stay at home. For startups, you need to meet people and test your ideas. You need to get challenges. Right? Don't be afraid of when people say, "Oh, this is not going to work. This is a bad idea." Don't be afraid of that. Go out, meet people. So I will quickly walk through these events. The first event is on the 8th of November. It's called Explore the Innovation Ocean by Jumpstart. So it's organized by a media called Jumpstart Media. It's an entrepreneur magazine. And this time, we are transforming the Ocean Park into startup event. You know Ocean Park, many of you probably have been it, but Ocean Park has special features, the Ferris wheel. And you probably heard of investor pitches that is done in the classrooms, done in the elevator. But what about in the Ferris wheel? So we will put 18 investors in the cabins of the Ferris wheel together with 18 startups, and then every time they will go about 5 to 7 rounds. So they have 5 to 7 minutes to pitch to the investors in a more calm scene, a beautiful weather. Yeah. So and then another key is that if the investor doesn't respond, he cannot come down. Right? We don't let him come down.
Throw him down from the Ferris wheels.
Yeah, so this is the way that we try to create opportunities for startups with investors. Right? He probably won't sign a check right on the Ferris wheel, but feedbacks and then a follow-up calls from them is the essential key. And then in Ocean Park, there's also a thing called Shark Tank. You probably heard about a show in US. It's called Shark Tank, where startups get wheeled by investors, just like you are thrown into a Shark Tank. Well, we're not going to throw anyone into the Shark Tank in Ocean Park. We'll be doing another product demo session in the Shark Tank room. So you have sharks swimming behind you, and then you get questions from investors. That is another way to create this matching with startups and the investors, and also even corporates, right? Because we understand it's very difficult for startups to meet with corporates. So as government, we try to create these occasions for you to meet and then really talk about business, not just talk about the weather or talk about the other kind of personal stuff. So day one in the Ocean Park. And the themes will tend to be like AI, Web3, Metaverse, healthcare, finance, actually general stuff. And then just join if you feel free to really experience Shark Tank or Ferris wheel. Oh, and then on day 2, we'll be focusing on the topic of health, because Hong Kong has the longest longevity in the world. We tend to live, women tend to live up to 87 years old, men is 82, 83, right? So, and longevity comes with, problems and commitments, how to remain healthy when you are old. So healthcare has a very large market for investors in Hong Kong, and also because our aging population, this is also a topic that government wants to deal with, to adopt more new solutions that we can help our aging population to still live well and also work well. Yeah, it's organized by Blink, an accelerator in Hong Kong. So they have it's origin from New York, but they landed in Hong Kong, get rooted here, and then now they have several focus of the programs. And on day 3, we are working with a VC called Pegasus Tech Ventures. It is a Silicon Valley-based VC, and we're working with their China team. They are also thinking of coming to Hong Kong because they want to start a Web3 fund in Hong Kong. And Hong Kong is a place that Web3, they think it will have a great future. And they do an event called Startup World Cup every year globally. So just like a World Cup, you have finals, you have semifinals, you have competitions around the globe, different cities, and then we are bringing the finale, Asia finale, in Hong Kong. Then the location will be a science park. So it's a round of speakers, conference panels to talk about the latest trends about the ecosystem and then the startup future. And then there will be, in the afternoon, there will be a pitching competition to decide who wins the Asia finale. And then he will be flown to San Francisco for the actual finale. So after a weekend, we will have an event that's on sustainability tech. And this is it's organized by a corporate called the New World, right? New World Development. They have an accelerator called Eureka Nova, purely focused on climate tech, clean tech, and they also have a GBA focus. So that is so it's precisely what I do with corporates. They form a program and they have a CVC to invest, and now they are, so that's why they accumulated this network, and they can organize a corporate level event like this. And in this event, we tend to put startups and corporates to meet, especially corporate nowadays. They want to see startup solutions that can use to achieve the ESG reporting purpose, and also to make their office or all these properties more value with green, with sustainability. So there's another business opportunity over there. And then the next day is quite related. It's called Real Estate Beyond 2023. So a prop tech event. I don't know whether prop tech, this concept was you heard it before. So it's property technologies, and this is properties. Developing lender properties is a very important part, very a huge part in Hong Kong's economy. It has come to a stage that we need an upgrade to a lot of the buildings we have in Hong Kong. New ones, of course, we're doing that, but what about the existing ones? And the developers in Hong Kong, they have a lot of resources in hand, right? Prime locations, buildings, shopping centers, residential buildings. So they have a lot of settings to test startup solutions.
This is my area, man. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, because
developer.
No, I'm working with Urban Chain. Urban Chain is property tech. The company I'm working now, I'm the CSO of that company, is actually a smart parking system developer. We actually develop softwares and parking gates, number plates recognitions, personalized advertising board in the car park. So actually property tech is a big thing in most of the countries, I would say, especially in Japan. The reason why we moved to Japan to set up a new branch in this month is so many car parks there are so old. Some countries like Malaysia, they have 30 million cars, 30 million in population, but 35 million cars registered in that country. So car parks is one of the most important parts of their life. So property tech, including not just how to manage the building, but also mobility as well. So property tech is a big thing for country development, I would say, because lots of old buildings.
Yeah, and a lot of this prop tech will eventually be linked to government smart city projects, right? Because smart city is the umbrella above, but below all these individuals, how to connect all these buildings and then provide useful data for analysis and then for improvement. Right? So it's a long time project. Yeah.
Yes, and government really support that.
Yeah, and then we have a 2 days event it's called Game On. Game is it's not just gaming; it's for gaming, art, music, and entertainment. And this event is actually very Web3 heavy. There will be a lot of discussion on Web3 metaverse related topics, and then there will also be actually a metaverse happy hour. But of course, there will also be a real setting networking event. Right? So in this event, you will see very different kind of participants from other startup events, because a lot of these they could be very active in the metaverse, and then they could be crypto owners, or they could be blockchain coders. Right? So if you're into this field, this event, which will take place in Cyberport, is very important. And Cyberport is also the location that government has designated to create a Web3 space in our policy address. So yeah, definitely check it out if you are in Web3. Then we have an event, a smaller scale event. It's called St. Gallen Symposium Hong Kong, the GBA Forum. St. Gallen Symposium is a school from the St. Gallen University that is 53 years old in Switzerland. And every year they will do a kind of like a World Economic Forum, smaller scale, right? And this is the one, St. Gallen Symposium. They will talk about the trend, they will talk about the future in the world. And this time, because they think Asia, especially Hong Kong and GBA, is interesting to them. For Europeans, this is a new concept, right? And it is also a very interesting topic to explore how 11 cities in 3 jurisdictions, 3 currencies, they can interact and then also integrate. Right? So they want to study more about this, and that's why they started this event this year. And last but not least, we are also working with Alibaba Entrepreneurs Fund to do a Jumpstarter event. So Jumpstarter is the pitching competition Alibaba conducts every year, and now they have already selected the final 100 top finalists to pitch. And this, look at the time, it's 8. It's not a typo. 8 to the 19. So they are in parallel with the StartmeupHK festival. Alibaba is going to do a very big tech show. It's called Tech by the Harbor. And you will see robot parades. You will see digital artists. You will see all kinds of tech elements being implemented in our daily life. I think in the Tsim Sha Tsui, the Star Promenade area. And that's a display exhibition. So a lot of fun over there. And StartmeupHK team, we are sponsoring the 2 days, the 16th and 17th, something called Start Meetup, right? It's also not a typo. It's a Start Meetup, meaning we should start meeting investors, meeting corporates, meeting potential partners. So it will be a very big scale business matching for startups sponsored by us. And we think that, of course, fun is great, but ultimately, after in the event, you should have some great takeaway. That would be, you get business matched to, say, potential investors or a corporate to collaborate, and then you have things to follow up after the event. Yeah, so with that, we hope it will be a very good conclusion of the festival. And you, besides the fun, meeting new friends, getting drunk, right? But you also make very good connections for you to follow on after this whole fun, so that your business idea can really land and then you make it successful, right? So
please get drunk, but don't do stupid things. It's a very sensitive topic recently to us.
Don't do stupid things. Don't promise too much. Don't promise too much.
Don't put video online, please. Yes. Yeah. Okay. So honestly, this is always the largest event for startup in Hong Kong, organized by CY over the last 6 years, I would say. Please come and join the event. I'll be there this year because I'm actually working for a 5-year-old startups as the CSO. I will join all the events, and if you guys are interested, I can also maybe arrange with Alois and we can all go together. All right.
Yeah. Okay. So that will be all from my side. And just one thing to add, if you can come to us at all stages, even if just at ideation stage or you're like growing, you want to apply for incubation programs, or you are opening up your new business, you want us to give you some ideas, some connections. You can come to us at any time. The offer or the service that we give back is in proportional to what you have. Right? If you only have an idea, then we can give you some ideas too about how to get it done, and then or maybe I heard of it before, and how did that person implement their project, right? And the more you have, the more we have to give back, right? So, but don't worry, just come to us anytime. You don't just have one chance; you have more than one chance. And then just like Michael, he's seen me many times already. I've supported him on maybe 2-3 companies, right? Doesn't matter. It's a government service, so feel free to use it.
Yes, it's free, and we don't have to pay him any money. Okay,
you pay your tax.
As long as we queue up politely. Okay.
Yeah. Right. So I will stop sharing my screen. Yeah. Thank you very much.
All right. Alois, there are questions we collected last night. Would you like to say it out, and then maybe see if I can give some answers, and I can give some opinion on that too?
Yeah, so thank you very much, CY. It was amazing. Actually, I invited to the call some of my colleagues who actually work on startup in Lingnan as well. So let me.
Those people has to pay. Okay. Yeah.
So one of the students was asking about. I want to ask how the government will improve the policy environment on Web3 and cryptocurrency. As he knows, some of the industries players have moved to Singapore or other countries from mainland in the recent years. He's a co-founder of a graphics company devoted to graphics card mining industry, and the changes in Ethereum, proof of stake. Changes has kind of had an impact with graphic card mining, and yeah. So, what are your takes on government regulation and support?
Okay. Can you all see my slide?
Yes.
Okay. So, his observation is correct, right? And then Hong Kong government has announced a series of policies since October last year. We have a policy statement very clearly saying that we will support Web3 industries after years of observation, and then there will be relevant regulations coming up. So this is the summary of what we have regulation-wise. That we are starting a license scheme, right? So from June 1st June this year, virtual asset operators can apply. And that means we want to regulate the virtual asset business, because it is one of the transaction means in the Web3 world. We want to regulate it just like how we regulate the traditional financial industries. Okay. But the regulation is it's very transparent, very clear. Everything is available for you to online or consult. And currently in Hong Kong, there are 2 crypto exchanges. They got approval. So that with this regulation, you can sell your product to retail investors, meaning you and me, normal people, mainstream investors. This creates liquidity to the market, because I think previously the problem with Web3 is that it's deemed as very risky. So government was only restricting the operators to only sell that to professional investors, meaning people who have assets more than $1 million. And even though these are rich people, but like Michael, but their number is not enough, right? And then when you don't have enough liquidity in the market tends to fluctuate drastically when there's bad news, or when there's some misled emotion. So increasing the liquidity to the market. Yeah, please.
The thing is Yeah, sorry, I'm not the rich man. Okay, I don't. I told you I don't even trade crypto. Even though I did metaverse, VR things. you know. But the thing is, actually, previously was very dangerous. Some people got kidnapped in Hong Kong when they do P2P. It happens. So this is why the government has to jump out and do a license 7. This is the license 7 regulated trading platform. OTC need to be regulated, and which allow people to trade in between each other through a regulated body. So this is not going to happen in China, but it's very encouraged in Hong Kong right now. So this is why it's a very big opportunity. But still, most of the Web3 people are not very favorite with the KYC they need to do. So even in retail, you need to have lots of form fillings before you do the trade. So they need to be changed. So but it's a safer environment. So it is encouraged.
So why is the regulation comes in? Yeah, first we want to make it increase the liquidity, make it legit, and also make it more monitored, right? Precisely because what happened last year in I think it was October or November, there was a big exchange called FTX that exploded. Yeah, this is a big thing in the market because it was horrible. After the whole thing realized that such a big exchange, they have very super bad corporate compliance. They have almost no record of transactions, and then customers' money gets moved around easily, right? So it's not regulated. So no one knew about it until it exploded, and this has burned many people. Hong Kong, Singapore, even the Singaporean government investment fund, Temasek, they had to write off their investment, and then there was a like a very strong questioning in their parliament. Why did the government invested in such a risky business? Well, I would say it's not their fault. Nobody expected that, right? But that also caused Singapore was previously very open to Web3 business and very open to welcome all these companies to set up in Singapore. And that is why I think the question mentioned that he heard that many companies moved from China, which is restricted, closed 100%. They moved. And at that time, Hong Kong was in the lockdown. Web3 people tend to be more digital nomads. They want to travel around. They don't want to do their quarantines in Hong Kong. And Singapore at that time has lifted the quarantine. So many of these companies went to Singapore, and it's a very natural selection. And then there was a big fund, token 2049, right? And then FTX exploded, which is caught everybody by surprise, and also the government. So ever since that, I think in the beginning of this year, Singapore has been more conservative on Web3 companies going there. They mentioned that they never wanted to become a Web3 hub. They just wanted to encourage these companies to come, right? And then, but gradually, I think in June this year, the government also mentioned that they still welcome, they still have policy to welcome this company. Whereas in Hong Kong, we sort of we announced the policy statement last year in October, and then FTX thing happened. That is the moment I would say we jump in at a time where regulation is welcomed, right? Especially those people got burned, especially those people start to feel the risk. So it was well accepted by the market. In I think in late March and then early April this year in Hong Kong, we actually had a Web3 festival, and we had more than I think 200 events in the whole month, all Web3 related. Everyone from the world has, especially from mainland China, they've come to Hong Kong. It was quite crazy, right? Because but I think a lot of people they have a wrong expectation about the policy. Hong Kong government wants regulated. What we want to regulate is we have very clear guidelines, and then these regulations will come with a cost. If you want to make your exchange or your operation following government's policy, there's a cost to invest. And some Web3 players they didn't expect that. They thought it's an open party, free drinks, everybody can come here and they just do their business. So after they realized this, you see that in May, in June, this fund died down. Only serious players remain. And those remain, they are also working to apply for the license. Currently, so now gradually you will see more and more of this license gets approved. Once this license gets approved, it's a legit financial service in Hong Kong. And then you will see banks, financial institutions start working with these licensed crypto exchanges, licensed crypto, say, custodian service providers. And it will just become one of the financial products that Hong Kong citizens or Hong Kong people, sorry, not just citizens, Hong Kong people, that they can buy as one of the investment portfolio. So it's getting more common. That's the whole idea of regulation and what the government wants to achieve. Right. And so that's for regulation side. And then earlier I mentioned that we injected 50 million Hong Kong dollars to Cyberport to create the Web3 environment, the ecosystem. So currently we have 180 Web3 companies already entered Cyberport. And I think Cyberport's the DNA is always with gaming, with platform technologies, fintech. So it's a good match. And if you are into this business, you want to join a good incubation program that you have a good environment, I think Cyberport is a good one to go to. Yes. Oh, and some other thing that I can share to see that is okay. Yes. This is 10 most active VCs in Hong Kong, according to the data last year. And then Animoca Ventures is the top one. Animoca Ventures comes out from Animoca brand, which is the Web3 unicorn in Hong Kong. So the founder is Yasil. Probably some of you have heard about him. He's very big on decentralized gaming, decentralized asset ownership, right? And he built a company, Animoca brand, and then he formed a VC to reinvest into Web3 startup companies. So Animoca brand is also located in Cyberport. So if you are a startup in Web3, you want to be exposed to similar peers and also investor that sees the future of Web3, I think Cyberport is the place to go. Yeah. So yeah, sorry for this very, very lengthy answer.
Yep. There is another question from last night. Alois?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
about employment.
Okay, let me first go to, is there any specific trait about startup businesses in Hong Kong compared to other areas, especially for young people?
Okay. I wanted to know how young depends on young. Because
a lot of our students are like between 21 to 25, I would say.
Okay, yeah. The reason I'm asking is because I will take fintech as an example. One of the top number of startups in Hong Kong. The average age of fintech company founders in Hong Kong is 42 years old. Yeah. So is it young? Probably not. But why is this so? Because in Hong Kong, especially fintech, I think for you to accumulate enough resources and maybe even some self-starting fund, and also the network and the knowledge, you need to be like in the financial area for certain years, right? So that is why a lot of the fintech startups, they after maybe 10 years or 12 years in the financial industries, then they think they have accumulated enough wealth and knowledge to start, right? So that is one. Crypto is another story. Crypto, a lot of people are very young, right? So in Hong Kong, you tend to see this kind of fintech companies, crypto-related, blockchain-related, very young because they need your energy, right? This industry needs your energy to work, with excitement as well. I used to be in the crypto exchange, but I wasn't young. I was like 35. I was in the crypto exchange before joining InvestHK. It is a job that requires you to stay alert, and you probably have to code all night long and to achieve a lot of things within short time. So different, yeah. And another trait in Hong Kong for young people, I think that e-commerce is one thing that because there's so many tools nowadays available for you to do e-commerce. What you need is the product or the service that you're offering. And then if you're just selling a Me Too product, if you're just selling something but with like 5% discount, that's not going to work, right? But I see like creative e-commerce products which is with more personal touch, or the young people they tend to have their unique view, and then the way they sell or they promote a certain product, make it connect to the audience. and they know how to leverage the promotion channels, not just the website, right? They leverage like TikTok, they leverage IG, right? Leverage WhatsApp to build connections with your customers, right? So I think this is another trait I see in Hong Kong's e-commerce, very unique, customized e-commerce platforms or business started by young people. They not necessarily build their own platform, because nowadays there are so many platforms they can leverage, but they're putting a lot of heart, putting a lot of time to make their product unique, and then they create a community.
I would say because Hong Kong is very easy to access to the whole world. I would say whole world. We can access to the China online platform. We can access to the overseas platform, and this is why lots of people started e-commerce. And they lost. China was still, the largest industry, product producer. So you can get a product developer or manufacturer to do something very unique for you. Not just having, I would say always the hardware always need the software. Something like personalized services to allow you to be creative and allows you to have a bigger margin for the product.
Yes.
So this is why young people, I would really encourage you go with something close to what you live with, but not to sell something you don't even know. It's like the elderly product. That is very difficult for you guys. It's very difficult for you to understand how the elderly live, right? Unless you do lots of research.
Yeah, start with something that's truly yours. Yeah, I would say. And then Hong Kong is, and I think nowadays young people's sourcing ability is very strong. Sourcing, finding the unique product, and then also you're willing to spend time to talk to the product owner, right? Or even even a fruit from the origin place, some province in China. But the way you sell it, or the way you find the right community for this, young people are doing way better than me. like the government, we're still using very traditional way of promotion because we are more conservative. But when you come to consumer products, more daring and more exploration is definitely encouraged, right? And one last thing that I observe young people tend to get in nowadays is actually sustainability, and also social innovation. So this is different. I think from earlier times, when you do a startup and then you want to do very hard tech, you want to grow fast, you care about your own return, right? But now I see more concerns about the impact and creating to the surrounding, to the society, and then you know how to leverage tech to make that, to fulfill that, right? And this is very important because it's actually also a big demand in Hong Kong, as a lot of the NGOs, while they are getting government funding, they are still doing charity in a very traditional way, right? It's not that they don't have a kind heart, they do, but it's just not efficient, and they desperately need creative young people with tech savvy young people to transform them, right? To work with them and then really bring the help to the people in need, right? So this is another observation I have.
Because the topic, the degree itself is a social entrepreneurship. So we're really concerned about social.
Yes.
Yes. In Hong Kong, it's very difficult to success because the population is small. But when we go back to China, it's huge. The social needs are huge. So I would actually encourage you guys, don't worry about too much about, is there any success case in Hong Kong? It's very difficult. But think about how we do it globally or in a region like China. Am I right, Alois?
Yeah, so when, of course, we want our students to start enterprises. Of course, if it's socially conscious, better. But we don't force them to actually, you should graduate and only start social enterprises. No, because Hong Kong has a lot of social enterprises rather than a thriving social enterprise ecosystem. There's a difference, right? So we want to improve that, and if there is somebody who's invested in the idea of sustainable business models and who wants to start a social enterprise is what we are going for. Yeah.
I actually see a lot more impact investors these days. They will definitely dedicate part of their portfolio to social enterprise that will create impact, right? And then don't get me wrong, it's not that they're donating money, but they want to make sure the investment has a real positive return to the society as well, other than the financial returns. And so if any of these investors you want to get to know, then feel free to reach out to me. I can easily arrange a meeting. Thank you.
Great. More questions?
Yes. Another question was, how do you view the current employment situation? So especially in mainland China, right? So similar follow-up questions. In the current employment situation, how should graduates find jobs? And how did you choose your industry which you work in?
I think I will take up this question. Okay, so I cannot answer much about China market. I'm not very familiar, but in Hong Kong right now, we are looking for people who has unique skills or unique personality or unique points of view when they do the work. Okay, hardworking, willing to learn. Absolutely, this is always the rules that we always pick. But we always use in my previous talk for the alumni event, we use a system called ask. So it's always attitude, skill set, and the knowledge. Attitude always comes first. Okay, so always be nice and open and willing to learn. Skills. I know you guys are here for the master, but on the side, you guys should also consider doing internship or learning other skills from the internet. LinkedIn has a pay account. If you pay, you can go to their LinkedIn Learning. There are thousands of courses you can learn from there. I pick one of the industry like the investment manager, so they actually suggest me 20 courses, and now I'm working on it. I have already earned like 30 courses from there, and they give you certificates. Put the certificate on your LinkedIn account, put it on your CV. Internship is important. If you have some experience in your interested industry and you earn some real-time, real-life experience from that, you will earn lots of credit from it. Secondly, always read news, always learn your industry you're interested, get updated news. Then when you go interview or work with people, you're always easier, no need to catch up so hard. So that's my suggestion.
CY, how did you choose your industry? What do you think?
Your industry is
China. It was in crypto before this as well.
It was a long time ago, man.
6 years human year and then 60-year crypto year.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so okay. Well, government is still hiring. Even Hong Kong is always hiring. We do take internship too. But it has to be applied through that a lot of forms and which I don't think you'll be interested. But from what I know is startups are always hiring. Startups are always doesn't have enough labor force, and then you see a startup hiring more, especially after they get a round of funding from the investors because they need to expand, right? So in my experience as working in a startup and the crypto exchange, I learned a lot within 9 months, and went through the whole Bitcoin up and down in the ICO process. So I think joining a startup, if you want to find have a startup experience, instead of starting on your own right now, join a startup company, and you will learn a lot about the ugly things of a startup. Yeah, startup is not always rosy. You may imagine, going to office very late, and then they'll play games all the time, and then at 4 o'clock with beer, and then ping pong. That's a university life, I would say. For startup life, especially now, right? Many times you are racing against time. Yeah, many times you are racing against Mission Impossible, right? You'll be given a Mission Impossible to do, and then there's only you. You have no background. You have to find the resources around, and it's challenging. But you also learn a lot. And then from what I know, all the startups I know, they are all hiring, right? And about the friends working in the banks or working in the corporates, not so much so. So I know the question was like whether you should take up a job or you should start. I think you should take up a job, but if your startup is ultimately your goal, take up a job that is or take a startup job that is relevant to what you want to do, right? Or if you want to do a social innovation, volunteer or take out a job in an NGO. See their pain point, find their pain point. Yeah, there are pain points everywhere, and there are three ways of addressing a pain point. You either let it pain until you die, or you pretend you don't see it, right? Or you rub it hard until it's no longer painful, right? So I would say find the pain point, then you know what you want to do next. Even if later on, for some reason you have to take up a corporate job or government job, right? Your entrepreneurship experience will matter. This is actually it's a global trend. Everyone's encouraging to have this entrepreneurship experience and spirit. So you don't just wait there and listen to orders. You're not afraid of problems, right? You can quickly formulate steps to solve the problem. Even if you don't solve it, you're not afraid of failing, right? You'll try again. And I think this is what all the employers now they want nowadays, right?
Yes. We have a very unique situation. Quite a few of us. I don't know about this class. The other master class, they actually take their classes at the Twin Moon campus. It's quite far away from the city. But if you work with the startups, most of them allow you to work from home. Actually, they are open. They're more open-minded. So if you want to do an internship, ask them to work from home. Normally, okay. So should consider do some internship with them.
And again, of course, there's a lot of differences, right? Like when it comes to startups as well, of course, most of them require specific skill sets. So identify the industry, identifying what type of skill sets the industry requires, and like using the time you have now to develop that would be very useful as well. So one other question, one of the students was saying central government works with DGI, have something similar, like Invest Hong Kong. HKUST has some projects. How does Invest Hong Kong define and locate itself? So basically, Invest Hong Kong is the granddaddy of everyone because you give money to most of the people, right? No. Science Park, Cyberport, no?
No. Invest Hong Kong do not invest at all.
Okay.
Okay. Science Park, Cyberport, they belong to another bureau in the government. It's called Innovation, Technology and Industrial Bureau. Right. And Invest Hong Kong belongs to the Economic and Commerce Bureau. So what we do is that we promote Hong Kong as a whole, right? And technology companies is only one part of Hong Kong. And so Science Park, Cyberport and this bureau, they have a focus on this, right? And we don't invest, even though the Invest Hong Kong name is meaning you invest HongOng, we support you, right? And then our funding will go to supporting sponsoring events that can allow more people in the world to know about Hong Kong, and then supporting events if it's startup focused, allow startups and corporates to meet to find the investment, right? So it's a promotion purpose kind of yeah.
It's kind of funny that we always talk about it in the event, CY and I. Invest Hong Kong. A lot of people go to Invest Hong Kong thought they are a investment fund from Hong Kong government. It is not. So after the meeting, they actually ask the people to come to invest instead of asking them to ask for money. So actually Invest Hong Kong help you to find people to invest you. Okay, help you how to make your business work in Hong Kong, and then you can get investment. This is what they do.
Yeah. So Hong Kong government actually does have an investment fund, right? It's called HK Hong Kong Strategic Tech Fund, and also the Hong Kong Investment Company, right? So this is there's more information to be shared later online, and it's under the Mr. Paul Chen, the financial secretary, right? So that's where the real money is. Yes. And then as for Invest Hong Kong, our usual answer when they ask for investment is we invest our time, we invest our resources, we invest our love in you. Okay, we hope you to succeed. Yeah, and then but we just can't invest in money.
Right.
So it's essentially, can we say that Invest Hong Kong is a big curator of almost all the information which is available around startups, startup ecosystems, and how do you connect, where do you connect, and all those things?
Oh, okay. We don't dare to say we are the only one. We just try to create an information portal. That's my team, only my team. Yeah, because my team is on StartmeupHK, right? And our daily job is to meet with startup companies, investors, or even corporates want to get connected to startups one-on-one basis, right? But then later on we found out, hey, maybe we should have all the information available online, right? So we created this portal and also the event page, so that people tend to put everything there, and then we have more people, more page views, more attractions, and then that attracts more people to put the information. Yeah, it's kind of like Enterprise SG in Singapore. They're also doing the same thing. There's no one there to curate everything, but just to gather all the information, right? But likewise, if you go to other bureaus' websites, they will all have the information. We direct from one to another, depending on what you're looking for. Yeah.
Okay. One last question we have here is, among all the investors who are listed in the website, who are best in terms of giving support?
Oh, okay. Okay. There's
your family. Your family is always the best.
Okay. First of all, there's no best. Just like in the relationship, there's only the most suitable. Okay. Don't go for the best. Yeah, because the best is hard to get, and then the best is decided not by you, right? By all these opinion. And but I just want to say that the investors listed on our website are the investors who agree to have the info posted there, because they want you to reach out to them. They have their website, their inbox for you to drop your business plan. But we also have another database of investors in Hong Kong, which is much larger, that they don't want their information to be posted, but they share with us about their the investment philosophy, what kind of company they're looking at. And so that is why sometimes when we receive a deck from the startup, right, after telling them that we can't invest in them, I will tell them that I will make an analysis and then send this deck to 3 to 5 these investors I know, whether it's listed online or it's in our own database, to see whether they're willing to meet with the startup. And very often, if they are, because it's referred by us, right? So very often they will give us a quick response, whether it's a yes or no, or they have already met them, and then if there's no updates, then they're willing to meet, right? So this kind of process. If you really want to say who are more who's more out there, who's more active, right? The investors. Okay. We actively work with 16 investment partners, and then they co-invest with them. So you probably heard of the name like Beyond Ventures, right? Beyond as in the band Beyond, right? Beyond Ventures, they invested a lot locally, local startups, and they invest from a large variety of e-commerce sites to even IC manufacturing wafer. Right? You probably heard of MyWorks Capital. They exited on SenseTime earlier, and then also Gogo, Alala Move, these kind of unicorns, right? And then Alibaba Entrepreneurs Fund, you probably know them. Right? Alibaba Entrepreneurs Fund is the fund set up by Jack Ma. So I should say Alibaba, in Hong Kong. Right? I think it's $1 billion, and
they very favored to AI development. They love AI startups.
Yeah. So I would say there's no best, but do look at their background. And then the company behind the fund or the founder, right? What is their investment philosophy? What is their previous success, right? Because if they investing in something that was successful, he's more confident to invest into your project if it's close to this category, right? whereas if you say you are crypto or Web3 startup, and then you go to a startup investor who just lost big time on FTX, he probably wouldn't want to see you, right? And even though he could be a very, 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 very kind person, but it's just not in his appetite.
You can actually get those preferences or ideas from some website like Crunchbase, that kind of website. They have the investor listing there. Of course, talk to CY. But one thing I want to announce here is the Ningnam Entrepreneurship Fund. I think that's the best for you guys to start to buy.
That's true.
The manager of the fund is also in the call, actually.
Okay.
And I am in the board. But I cannot vet. But I'm in the board. I coached the 5 teams the last 2 weeks and tell them how to pitch the betting team. So if you guys are really interested, apply that fund. That is the most lovely fund for Ningnam students.
Yes, definitely leverage the university network. The university networks in Hong Kong is one of the strongest supporting force for early stage startups, especially founded by the students or relevant parties. And it's your university. They know you, right? They care for you. They want you to grow, right? And VCs, they look cool, right? But they could be examining your case in a very very brutal way that probably not suitable for you at the early stage, right?
Yes.
And then angel investors might turn into devil, as I said earlier, because they don't know you, right? So university network is a good choice, and then it's good to be a student at this moment.
Yes.
Another thing which I would probably add is you are not looking for investors for just money. You are also looking for investors because you want, say, to leverage their network, to expand your business, to leverage their knowledge base. So when people think about investors, you need to also think about, as CY was mentioning, their success or failure to some extent as well in terms of guiding startups to go to the next level, because they should be invested in you not just for money but also for like the growth of the company.
This is what I'm doing with Urban Cheng. I'm the strategic partner. So we actually provide strategic value to the company, not just the money.
CY, how long do you have? We asked you to stay until 11:30. It's already 12.
Oh, it's okay. It's still black rain, so I'm still. I'm happy to stay on. And actually, I have something to add about just now you said about the investment. Yeah, in Hong Kong, there's a saying. Actually, in all Asian society, there's a saying that if you are there to ask for money for investor, you tend to get advice because he put out his defense guard. Right. Because he will start examining, okay, how are you going to take my money, right? But if you are there to ask for advice, in the end, you might get money, because he will loosen up, he share his experience, and then you start to synchronize with him. The key is to synchronize his brain with yours, and then when he agrees, he sees the value. All the analysis is very scientific, but decision making is always emotional.
Yes.
So touch is emotional, making emotional. Okay.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
We actually have a couple of people in our program who actually have their own companies already, or I'm not sure if they have any specific questions. Let me check it.
We are doing all the teaching for you, Alois.
This is what students need to hear, right? It's not about.
Yeah, just kidding.
It's
sharing.
Because we kind of structured this particular course in a way that it's not about learning stuff. It's about doing stuff. It's mostly learning by doing. So they have to set up a small shop or whatever they want to do, and show us they grew as a company, not in terms of numbers, but in terms of their knowledge base in what they're doing.
About setting up the small small shop in the campus. Do you guys know how many students do we have in the campus staying and living there? It's actually a small economy. you can actually get lots of clients there. So think about how you sell your product to the students first.
I mean, if there are no further questions, maybe we will let CY go and I mean, like, if you are okay, we can provide your information to all the students and let them connect with you, and probably add you on LinkedIn, maybe. And connect with you and thank you very much, CY. Again, if we have more questions, we would probably invite you again in the later part of the semester. If there are a lot of specific questions, we can just have if possible, we can have a Q&A session.
So feel free to share my LinkedIn. That's after where Michael found me in the first place.
and important part, support his Start Me Up event in November. Sign up to his activities, okay? And maybe we give him a applause. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you, CY. It was really informative, and I'm pretty sure we can try to manage some of the classes we have in November, so that we can encourage our students to attend specific sessions as well. So that I think this is very useful for them. Because they are here for a very short period of time.
And please tell your friends in China or anywhere you come from, InvestHK do not invest, but they help a lot.
we have 5 offices in China, and altogether 33 offices around the world, including Japan, including Korea, and also even Africa. Now we have new offices. So if all your friends overseas, they want to get the first-hand information about Hong Kong, about how to get into China through Hong Kong, feel free to let me know. I can direct him to that office. Right, then they can meet up with your friend in their culture, their language, in their time zone, right? So we don't have to wake up at like 4 a.m. in the morning. And that's how we try to customize our service. And then when they make their decisions, they want to come in Hong Kong, then at the headquarters we have a lot more colleagues like me in different industry sectors to receive them, give them the latest industry landscape. And it's not just startup related, okay? It can be finance, it can be consumer products, it can be technology, it could be logistics, anything. We are here to help. So feel free to use us.
Thank you so much, CY, and for your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Probably see you again.
See you. Everybody stay safe. Okay, bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.